Okay, so this is the continuation of our topic, kaganihan, no? So, for French benefit French benefit tax on the aircraft and yacht. So, the use of aircraft, including katong mga helicopters, nga pagmamay-ari and also ginamaintenar sa isa ka employer shall be treated as business or ginagamit siya para sa business. And this is not subject to the fringe benefit tax. While ang paggamit og yate, whether owned and also gina-maintain lang sa kuano or girentahan lang sa employer, kay magiging taxable siya sa fringe benefit. Again, if mga aircraft, including helicopters, even though pagmamay-ari siya or gina-maintain lang siya sa employer, shall be treated as business use and it is not subject to fringe benefit tax. While kaning yate or yacht, whether owned siya and maintained or even gerentahan lang siya sa employer, shall be treated as taxable fringe benefit. So, the value of fringe benefit shall be measured based on the depreciation of a yacht at an estimated na useful life of 20 years. So, for a broader aspect, we have here an illustration para mas masabtan nato ang French benefit tax sa sa yate or sa helicopter. So, si Grown Corporation daw class owns and maintains a yacht, a helicopter, and an airline which are used by its 10 members. So, note of the 10 members of the board of directors for pleasure and business purposes. So, these are the available items sa ato ang magiging problem for this topic. So, for yacht, acquisition cost niya is 27,200,000 pesos. And the estimated life as we have discussed sa iyahang description is ang useful estimated life sa yate kay 20 years. Then sa helicopter is 6,800,000 pesos with a 10 years estimated life. Then we also have airline, ang iyang acquisition cost or the AC is 13,600,000 nga naapod estimated life na 10 years. So the amount of annual fringe benefit tax for each director. So pila ang magiging annual fringe benefit sa fringe benefit tax for each daw nga director. So for annual depreciation class, sa yate, we have 27,200,000 pesos. And we have to divide the annual depreciation sa iyahang or the annual depreciation or the acquisition cost sa iyahang estimated life para makuha na to ang depreciation. Kung pila ang value sa depreciation na to for every year. So, mangutana mo, ma'am, wala lagi nasali ang ma'am, ang helicopter o airplane ni airplane sa grown corporation ng mga board of directors. Plus, again, dito sa to ang description kaganiya, dili subject to fringe benefit tax ang airplane and helicopter. So, ang ato ang kwaon lang kay ginapangita man ato ang annual fringe benefit sa tax for each director, ang ato ang calculation lang kay naka-focus kay yate. So, 27,200,000. We have to divide it sa iyang estimated life na 20 years. So, 27,200,000 divided sa 20. So, ang atong answer dara. So, 20. So, i-ready na ninyo ang inyong calculator, no? For mga calculations na to, sa ang topic for today. So divided sa 20. So naa tayo 1,360,000. So that will be our annual depreciation. Now, kay na-give nakuha naman nato ang annual depreciation for the yacht. We have to divide it sa to ang given na GMV rate nga 68%. So 1,360,000 divided sa 68%. So we have 2 million pesos for the gross up monetary value nato. And again, after dividing it sa toang gross up monetary rate, we have to multiply it sa toang French benefit tax rate nga 32%. So, multiply sa 32%. So, ang atong magiging annual French benefit tax kay 640,000. Karon kay atong ginapangita man kay pila ang annual French benefit tax for each. So, kada iya-iya nga mga director sa grown corporation. So, we have to divide it by the number of the members. So, pila man ka members ang grown corporation. So, they have 10 members of the board of director. So, ang atong annual French benefit tax, we have to divide it sa 10 ka director. So, divide 10. We have 64,000 ang annual French benefit tax for each director. So now, proceed ta sa expense account. So the following are treated as taxable French benefits. First, if ang expenses na na-incurred by the employee but paid sa iyahang employer or gibayaran sa iyang employer. So, then second, ang expenses na gibayaran sa employee pero reimburse or gibalik sa employer. However, if the above expenditures or mga expenses are duly na ay mga resibo no for and in the name of the employer, so these do not partake the nature of a personal expense kay sa pangalan man sa employer or sa business ang gigamit na name dito as a resibo. So it means di ni siya mo partake sa nature of a personal expense or dili gigamit in a personal way sa empleyado. So this is attributable to the employee. So the same shall not be subject to French benefit. So you take note aning second treatment sa expense account. Then third is the personal expenses of the employee. So parehas ang pag-purchase nila og grocery for personal consumption para sa iyahang family member, tapos gibayaran for reimbursement or gibayaran sa employer sa iyahang empleyado nga nagamit as a personal expenses whether or not the same are duly received for in the name of the employer as long as na naka-name dito sa naka-name dito sa employer. So, di siya po na siya mahulog as personal expense. So, for illustration class, so we have here representation and transportation. So, we have allowances that are fixed in amounts and regularly na ma-receive sa mga empleyado as part of their monthly compensation income shall be considered as taxable compensation income subjected to withholding tax under sa ilahang wages. So, for illustration, para masabtan na tagtaman, for example, si Mushroom Corporation class, he allows its COO or the Chief Operation Officer, gipangalan nila as Candrado Perez, to incur expenses subject for reimbursement or unsay tawag another term for reimbursement, nakalimot ko sa term for the reimbursement kanang kuan for kuan man gud, I don't know kung saan na siya term sa kuan sa Bisaya kanang kumbaga ibabalik ng kumpanya kung ano yung nagastos, nagastos niyo pero naka-name under the company yung expenses. So Mr. Perez presents the following itemized na resibo. As long as na may resibo din nakapangalan sa company, so that will be reimbursed sa inyong kuan sa inyong kumpanya. So for example, for the light and power. For the light and power, 75% kay nakapangalan siya sa kumpanya. Then it amounted to 8,000. Then we also have the grocery items named under kay Mr. Perez, 15,000. Then the clothings named, nakapangalan ang resibo to Mr. Perez also na 5,000, and the gasoline of company car na 3,000, and transportation for the business trip. Karon, the question is, how much of Mr. Perez reimbursable expense would be subject to fringe benefits tax? So, the reimbursable expense ni Mr. Perez are subject to fringe benefit tax. First kay ang light and power. 'Di ba? Stipulated dito sa question, diri sa question na to is ang light and power kay 75% lang ang nakapangalan sa kumpanya. Nakuha na to ang 25% kay 'di ba? 100% minus 75%. So ang mabilin is 25%. So light and power sa 8,000 na kantidad sa light and power, 25% ang bayaran dara ni Mr. Perez. So naa siya 2,000. So again, 8,000 multiply sa 25% is 2,000. So 2,000 ang reimbursable expense ni Mr. Perez rather. Then we also have the grocery kay nakapangalan na siya under kay Mr. Perez nga 15,000, and the clothing na nakapangalan ang resibo kay Mr. Perez nga 5,000. So ang total reimbursable expenses ni Mr. Perez is 22,000. So you have to take note kung kay kinsa siya gipangalan ang resibo, kay company ba or for the personal use sa iyahang empleyado. Then note here, the gasoline and 75% of lights are of power are expenditure of the employer. So again, sa employer aspect sa nakapangalan man under sa name of the company, pero they don't partake the nature of personal expense subject to French benefit tax. So the French benefit tax would be kay 'di ba ang total na to dito as a French benefit tax ni Mr. Perez is 22,000. Now kay nakuha naman na to ang total French benefit dito sa calculation, we can now use the gross up monetary value rate nga 68% para makuha na to ang gross up monetary value nga 32,353, and now we have to multiply it by the French benefit tax rate nga 32%. So the total is ang total na French benefit tax due ni Mr. Perez is 10,353. The next is the household expenses. Expenses of the employee which are borne by the employer for household personnel. Okay? Class, remember ang ato ang topic for this concern sa French benefit tax, household expenses. So expenses of the employee nga na borne by the employer for household personnel such as salary sa household helper, personal driver of the employee, or other similar personal expenses like payment sa homeowners association, mga garbage due, and shall be treated as taxable French benefit. So the illustration here, or the example, the Magnolia Corporation hired Miss Emerita Bulusan, a scientist who discovered the trade secret of Wonderball ice cream, and gave her the following compensation and French benefits. So first is salary nga salary nga 300,000 per month. Wow, dako as sa salary ani oy. Then three personal security guards, 3,000 each per month. Then two maids nga 2,000 each per month. Then one secretary in the office and one personal, okay? One personal driver nga 4,000 per month. Then we have here homeowners association due. So again, dito sa note, um mga personal driver of the employee or the similar personal expenses, mga salaries of household helper, it would be shall be treated as taxable fringe benefit. So, the determination of annual fringe benefit class and fringe benefit tax due would involve the following computation. So, there are three personal security guards. So, paunsa man ni siya kuha nga calculation sa 108,000. So, from the sahod sa tulo ka guard nga 3,000 each. So, 3,000 tapos i-multiply na to kung pila sila ka personal security guard. So, naay tatlo ka personal security guard. 3,000 i-multiply na to sa tatlo. Then, asa man ni siya nakuha ang 12? Diba sa isa ka tuig na atay 12 months? Then, we are looking for annual, so yearly na French benefit. So we have to multiply it by 12 months. So 3,000 times katong tatlo ka personal security guard, then i-multiply nato sa 12 months. So we have 108,000. Then same process sa duwa ka maid nga naay sahod nga 2,000, then duha sila and multiply sa 12 months. So naay 48,000. Then ang personal driver, okay? Ang isa ka personal driver. So 4,000 ang monthly salary, then multiply sa 12 months. Kay isa lang man siya. Pwede sad kung trip ninyo 4,000 niya salary times 1 times 12 months. So natay 48,000 for that. Then we have homeowners association due nga 600. Ma'am, asa man napadulong ang secretary? Class, again, the secretary kay dili siya ginagamit sa personal nga aspect ni scientist, the name of scientist, si Miss Emerita Bulusan, because the secretary is working in the office. So that is not used for personal things. So, we have here ang tulo ka personal security, two maids, ang isa ka personal driver o ang homeowner association due. So, i-plus nato na sila to get the total French benefit for the year. So, the total is 204,600 pesos. Then, we have to divide it sa to ang gross up monetary rate nga 68% para makuha na to ang gross up monetary value nga 300,000 and multiply by the tax rate nga 32% para makuha na to ang ato ang ginapangita nga French benefit tax due nga 96,282 pesos. Then, interest on loan at less than market rate. So, the following rules are applicable siya regarding the cost of money whenever an employee borrowed money from his employer. So, if the employer kay pahiram siya og kwarta sa iyang empleyado with free of interest or walay interest or at a rate nga lower than 12% per year, simbutan na to naluoy si employer 5% na lang ang interest per year or as long as na lower than 12% per year, such interest forgone by the employer of the difference of the interest assumed by the employee and kaning 12% rate shall be treated as taxable French benefit. Then, panduha, the benchmark interest rate of 12% shall remain in effect until revised by subsequent na mga regulation, no, especially by our government. So, this regulation shall apply to installment type of payments or through loans with interest rate na lower than 12% starting January 1, 1998. So for illustration, for more understanding, in 2000, Mr. Peter Ang, the owner of Victoria Supermarket, kay nagpahiram siya og 100,000 kay Martin Lavarias. So the supermarket's manager, si Martin Lavarias. So it is stipulated in their agreement that the amount should be paid in 1 year nga naay annual interest na 5.2%. So, paunsa na siya i-calculate. So, interest nga 12%. So, ang iyahang gipahiram ni Mr. Ang kay 100,000 i-multiply sa 12%. So, naatay 12,000 nga interest for the 12% rate. Then, the interest at 5.2%, so naay 100,000 multiplied by 5.2%, so naay 5,200. So, kwaon na to ilahang difference. Paunsa man ko ng difference, we have to deduct 12,000 nga nigikan sa 12% kay 5,200 nga nigikan sa interest ni 5.2%. So, ang ilahang difference is 6,800. So, sa 6,800, pag nakuha na ang ato ang difference, pwede na nato siya i-divide by using the gross up monetary factor nga 68%. So, gross up monetary value niya kay 10,000. Then, multiply sa ato ang French benefit tax rate nga 32%. So, ang French benefit tax due na to kay 3,200. So, note here, the 12% kay benchmark interest rate ni siya, based jud ni siya sa Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas under the circular number 905 series of 1982. So stipulated jud dito sa BSP nga 12% jud ang benchmark sa interest rate. Then second note to remember, on June 21, 2013, under sad kay Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, issued circular number 799 series of 2013, gireduce na ang above interest rate from 12%, kinahimo na lang siya as 6% per annum. So, it will depends no on the year kung kano sa gi-avail tong giutang na kwarta. So, for these instances, kay year 2000 man ato ang gigamit. So, sulod Japan siya sa 1982. Okay, so kaya ang reason, that is the reason nga ato ang gigamit na percentage is 12%. Pero kung giingon nato nga in year 2013, 14, 15 siya gipautang ni Mr. Ang, then we will be using the 6%. Kanya sulod naman siya sa 2013. So, pangatlo, for French benefit tax purposes, the 12% benchmark interest rate shall remain in effect until ma-revise na po siya by subsequent mga regulation. If na-i-revise si BSP, na-i-revise ang ato ang Department of Finance, ang government mismo. So, depende. As long as na wala pa changes, so dito ta sa mga benchmarking na to sa 1 and 2 ang ato ang basis. Then, membership fees, mga dues and other expenses. So, membership fees, mga dues and other expenses borne by the employer for the employee in social and athletic clubs or other similar organizations. The entire expenditure shall be treated as taxable French benefits of the that is not die. Sorry for the wrong typo. That is for the taxable French benefit of the employee. So, Mr. Jose Alfred Herbolario was appointed as the Vice President for Marketing of Baguio Gold Corporation. So, as his privilege, ang corporation kay nagbayad sa iyaha, the corporation paid his Baguio Country Club membership for amounting 1,700,000 pesos. So, Ang question diri how much is the amount of the French benefit tax? So the French benefit tax would be first, we have to get the monetary value sa membership fee nga 1,700,000 pesos. Then, i-divide na to siya diretso dito sa to ang gross monetary value rate nga 68%. Then, we also have the gross up monetary value na nigikan from dividing the 68% sa 1,700,000 pesos. So, total of 2,500,000 pesos. Then, 2,500,000 pesos. Then, i-multiply na to siya sa French benefit tax rate niya, 32%. Then, we will be getting the answer to our question no, kung pila ang amount sa French benefit tax ni kuan sa gi-appoint na Vice President for Marketing of Baguio Gold Corporation. So, we have 800,000 ang French benefit tax. Then, going on sa to ang discussion for today, expenses for foreign travel. So, reasonable business expenses which are paid for by the employer for the foreign travel of his employee for the purpose of attending business meetings, mga conventions, shall not be treated as taxable nga French benefit. So, in this instance, mao ni siya ang mga different rules na dapat nato i-apply. First, kay inland travel expenses such as those na ma-incurred for food, mga inumnon, local transportation, kay dili to siya subject for French benefit tax. So, for lodging costs in a hotel or similar establishment, any cost na na-incur or incurred in excess of an average nga $300 per day shall be, okay? Remember this, if na-incur siya in excess of average nga $300 per day shall be subjected na to French benefit tax. Cost of economy and business class airplane tickets shall not subject to French benefit tax pero naa siya exception if 30% of the cost of the airplane na, so I have a note here kay na typo dara sa to ang PDF. So 30% of the cost of the first class airplane ticket shall be subjected na to French benefit tax. So, ang expenses should be supported dapat with documents as a proof proving an actual occurrences of the meetings or conventions para magpatunay nga na-adjud or nag-exist jud ang meeting na iyang gi-attendan or convention na gi-attendan. So, in the absence of documentary evidence showing that ang employee's travel abroad was in connection with business meeting or convention. So, ang entire cost sa ticket, including ang iyahang hotel accommodation and other expenses, incident, thereto shouldered by the employer. So, with that case, i-shoulder dito siya sa employer if napatunayan sa mga evidences nga kadtong travel niya abroad kay related Japan sa iyahang trabaho. So, it shall be treated as taxable benefits. So, traveling expenses daw class which are paid by the employer for the travel of the family members of the employee shall be treated as taxable French benefit of the employee. So, for illustration, si Mr. Leonardo de la Cruz, ang Vice President of Finance sa Cordillera Corporation, kay nag-incurred og following expenses in attending note this sila kung pila sila ka days nag-attend dito sa foreign business convention. So, first is the plane ticket na gigamit padulong og United States. So, it costs $1,500. Then, iyahang plane ticket kay iyahang kuan pa jud first class pa jud ang iyang flight, so naay additional na 800 and then the economy na kuan na flight, if economy ang iyang gikuha is $8,000. Then the hotel accommodation in USA or in the United States is 1,500 ang iyahang nagastos. So, ang inland travel, i-assume na to class na ang $1 kay equivalent siya sa 40 pesos. So, kung sa nato i-compute ang French benefit, if we assume nga ang iyang gi-attendan nga business convention kay documentary siya or naay mga proof or evidences na ipakita or mga resibo nga kana jud ang iyang nagastos. Then second is kanang business convention nga walay documentary evidences. So first katong sa part nga naay documentary evidence. So ang the French benefit tax due is determined as follows. So first class plane ticket kay it costs $1,500. Then i-multiply nato siya sa 40. Asa man ni siya nagikan ng 40? Again, plus gi-assume lang nato plus no nga ang per dollar change for Philippine money kay 40 pesos. So we have to multiply it sa gi-assume nato nga 40 pesos nga amount sa isa ka dollar for Philippine money. And then i-multiply nato siya sa 30%. So again, asa man nato ni siya nakuha ang 30%? Ang 30% class kay the cost of first class airplane ticket shall be subjected for French benefit tax. So given na ning 30% na cost of the first class plane. So we have 18,000 pesos. Kaya gi-convert naman na to ang amount sa dollar into pesos. Then we also have the hotel accommodation. So class, for hotel accommodation, we have 8,000 no for the economy nga hotel accommodation or economy room for the hotel accommodation. Then asa na to ni nakuha ang 900? Again class, kaning 900 kay nakuha na to ni siya sa kani for lodging cost in hotel in similar establishment na ginatulugan niya, any cost na na-incur in excess of an average of $300 no per day shall be subjected to FBT. Ma'am, 300 man na, di man na siya 900. Again, class, pila man siya ka days, okay, pila man siya ka days nag-attend og convention or meeting dito sa US. Class, ang ato ang kuan ani is per day. Dili lang man siya isa ka adlaw matulog sa hotel kay 3 days man iyahang convention. Okay, so we have to multiply 300 to 3 days. Mo nang nakuha na to ang 900 pesos. So we have to less the amount of economy room nga 8,000 sa 900 pesos, then multiply sa 40 kay para ma-convert na to siya into pesos. So the answer for this is 284,000. So class, never forget the open and close parentheses nga pag-input no sa to ang scientific calculator aron dili magka-error sa inyohang pag-calculate. Then that will be the total French benefit na kailangan nato para makuha ang French benefit tax due. So we have a total French benefits nga 302,000, and then we have to divide it sa to ang gross monetary rate nga 68% para makuha nato ang gross up monetary value nga 444 1,118 pesos. Then we have to multiply it by our tax rate nga 32%. So the answer for this is ang French benefit tax due nga 142,118 pesos. So diri nakanote computation of 900 kay $300 i-multiply sa 3 days. Since daw class ang above mentioned na mga expenses are business related, and with documentary evidence. So, naa siya mga resibo and all, may picture pa ba? So, the plane ticket economy should not be treated as taxable French benefit. Also, ang inland travel expenses are not French benefits. Hotel accommodation amounting to 300 or less per day is not subject to French benefit. So, in business convention na walay documentary evidence. So, sa first class plane ticket, we have 1,500. I-multiply na to siya sa 40 pesos kay let's say nga, yes, nang-attend siya og kuan pero wala ta kabalo kung pila ka day. So, diretso dayon nato kwaon ang kuan 'no, mahulog siya as 1 day lang ang makuan sa iya because of absence of documentary evidence. So, 1,500 for the plane ticket, then multiply nato siya para ma-convert nato siya into Philippine money na 40 pesos. So, we have 60,000 pesos. Then ah, class nga plane ticket nga $800. I-multiply nato siya sa 40 kay para ma-convert nato siya into peso, then we have 32,000. Then hotel accommodation na 8,000 multiplied to 40, so we have 320,000, and inland na travel na 1,500 i-multiply sa 40, then we have 60,000. So ang total French benefit nato kay 472,000, then divide nato siya sa gross up monetary value factor na 68%. So, naatay gross up monetary value nga 694,118, and i-multiply nato siya by tax rate nga 32%. So, nakuha nato or makuha nato ang French benefit tax due nga 222,118 pesos. So another note here for without documentary evidence. So in the absence of documentary evidence showing that the employee's travel abroad was in connection with business meetings, mga conventions. So ang entire cost of the ticket including ang iyang cost of hotel accommodation and other expenses incident thereto shouldered by the employer shall be treated as taxable French benefit na siya. Then we also have the holiday and vacation expenses. So, holiday and vacation expenses of the employee borne by his employer shall be treated as taxable French benefit. So, in 2000, San Miguel Corporation, nag-provide sila og 4-day free vacation in Boracay to all of its employees. Of which 80% are rank and file. Again, kadtong sa discussion nato kaganiha sa first part sa tong discussion kay ang rank and file are not subject to French benefit. So we have here 80% are rank and file daw. So the total expenses incurred by the company for the said vacation amounted to 2 million pesos. So the determination of French benefit tax would entail the following computation. So for French benefit for managerial employees, kay sila naman ni ang subject to French benefit. So, pila na naman nabilin sa 100% na to if 80% are rank and file. So, we have 20%. So, ang 2 million, i-multiply na to sa 20%. So, they have 400,000 pesos. Then, with that, pwede na ta magtuloy-tuloy sa to ang computation. We will be using again the gross up monetary value rate nga 68% para makuha ang gross up monetary value or the GMV nga 588,235, and i-multiply nato siya sa tax rate nga 32%. So the French benefit tax due will be 118,234. Then for educational assistance, so the following rules shall be applied whenever an employer provides educational assistance sa iyang employee or sa mga dependent sa tuang empleyado or kaubad na empleyado. Then for the taxable French benefit, first general rule is the cost of the educational assistance to the employee which are borne by the employer. So, second is cost of educational assistant extended siya sa employer to the dependent of the employee. If non-taxable French benefit, ang exception niya is first, ang scholarship kay grant to the employee by the employer provided the following conditions. If na met ni siya sa employee na gihatagan og scholarship, then he is exempted or not taxed for French benefit. So the education or study involved is directly connected with the employer's trade, business, or profession na ginapatrabaho sa iya ha. Second, there is a written contract between them to the effect that ang employee is under obligation to remain in the employer for the period that they have mutually agreed upon. So, if ever na mag-back service or whatsoever. So, in this case, the expenditure shall be treated as incurred for the convenience and furtherance of the employer's trade or business. And lastly, maingon na to siya as non-taxable fringe benefit if the assistance was provided through competitiveness scheme under the scholarship program of the company. So, for illustration class, si Mr. Jack Amo is a regular faculty member sa NU or Northern University. So, the school provides free tuition fees para sa mga bata sa iyang mga empleyado or mga anak sa iyang empleyado. Then, the tuition fees are subject to French benefit tax. But, however, it is subject lang to withholding tax for kung ano compels income or for a while. So, however, it is subject to withholding tax for compensation income under Section 79 of NIRC. So, this is under the BIR ruling of 189299 -99 rather. Then we also have the insurance benefits. So these benefits, it refers to life or health insurance and other non-life insurance na mga premiums or similar amounts in excess of what the law allows. So the cost of life or health insurance and other non-life insurance premium borne by the employer for his employee shall be treated as taxable na fringe benefit except na lang if first ang contribution of the employer for the benefit of the employee pursuant to the provision of existing law such as under sa SSS or under sa GSIS if sa government or similar contributions arising from the provisions of any other existing na law. And second, the cost of premiums borne by the employer for the group insurance of his employees. So for illustration, si ABC Company nagapakita og mga following insurance premium intended for its president, Mr. Yolohio. So, ang life insurance ni Mr. Eulohio and iyahang mga beneficiaries is 10,200. Then, car insurance under sa name ni Mr. Eulohio nga 5,440. And health insurance, SSS contribution and group insurance of Mr. Eulohio's family nga 4,080, 3,400 and 1,700. So, total insurance premium na ginabayaran kay 24,820. So, karon the French benefit tax on the insurance premium paid by ABC Company for the benefit of Mr. Yolohio is computed as follows. So, first kay life insurance nga under sa name ni Mr. Yolohio, ang car insurance ni Mr. Yolohio, ang health insurance, mao na siya ang added no sa premium na ginabayaran. Nganong kana lang kay 'di ba again kadtong mga benefits na stipulated sa government na kailangan jud ihatag sa mga employee like SSS nga contribution kay no need na to siya i-compute apil sa French benefit tax sa insurance premium. So, first is 10,200, then we also have 5,440 and 4,080. So, ang total French benefit tax, if kwaon na to, 19,720 multiply sa gross monetary value rate nga 68% and 32% nga kuano 32% na French benefit tax. So, we have the answer for French benefit tax value nga 9,280 pesos. So these are the recipient of French benefit sa tax rate for kung ano, non-resident alien na individual nga dili nag-engage sa trade or business in the Philippines, 25%. Then alien individual employed by regional or area headquarter kay 15%. Same lang sila sa individual nga na employed by a foreign service or contractor, 15%, as well as ang mga Filipino individual employees who are employed in occupying the same position as those occupied or held by the alien employees, 15%, and employees in a special economic zone. So, na ay 15%. So, ang tax base na to ani sa ilaha sa first recipient nga non-resident alien kay 75%, i-minus lang na to dito sa 100% ang 25% to get 75%. Same sila og process. So if 15%, 85% sad. So Brad Pitt, a non-resident alien not engaged in trade or business in the Philippines. So this he is under the number one, no? Received 60,000 from Water Pure Philippines Incorporated as fringe benefit. So the amount of fringe benefit to be withheld and paid would be first kay ang gross up monetary value nga 60%, 60,000 kung pila tong gihatag sa iya ha. So we have the 60,000 and then the 25 nga FBT or French benefit tax on the GMB of the FB. So tax base ang ato ang gamiton nga the tax rate rather ang ato ang gamiton jud mismo, the 25%. Then, sa 25%, nakadarang 75% para makuha na to ang 60,000 divided sa 75%. So, we have 80,000. And multiplied by applicable FBT rate nga 25%. So, we have the fresh benefit of 20,000. So, another note for this particular topic, the French benefit received by a business in the Philippines shall be subject sa 25% French benefit tax rate. Then second, ang tax base is the gross up monetary value computed by dividing the monetary value by 75%. And the formula is FBT equals to MV divided 75% multiplied sa 25%. So, kanang 75 ug 25 depende sa problem kung asa siya belong sa alien individual employed, uh, by regional or offshore mga alien na employed by a foreign service contractor or by a foreign service subcontractor. Then any of their Filipino individual employees in special economic zone. So kana. So ang French benefit class nga dili subject to FBT first kay French benefit which are authorized and exempt na siya from income tax under the code or under any special law or ang commissioner mismo nag-ingon nga exempted sila for the income tax. Then panduha, contribution of the employer for the benefit of the employee for retirement, insurance, and hospitalization benefit plans. Pangatlo, benefits given to the rank and file whether granted under a collective bargaining agreement or not. Then pang-apat, if the grant of French benefit to the employee is required by the nature um, of necessary to the trade, business, or profession of the employer. The next, if the grant of the French benefit is for the convenience sa employer nila. And lastly, ang de minimis benefit. So, di dyan kasali for branch benefit tax. Then the exemption of any French benefit from the French benefit tax shall not be interpreted to mean exemption and from any other income tax imposed under the code except if the same is likewise expressly exempted sila sa tuang existing law or sa commissioner mismo. So, depende. So, for a while, mag-inom sa cold water. Okay, so for our second topic, sa new income tax rate. So for individual citizens and resident aliens, earning purely compensation, no? Purely compensation income, and also mga individuals na nag-engage in business and practices of profession. So first, graduated income tax rate under sa Section 24A 2 of the Tax Code of 1997 as amended sa ato ang Republic Act number 10963. So these are the amount of net taxable income rate. So first is 250,000. So but not ko ano over 250,000 kay ang rate nato dara is 0% pa. Then 250,000 to 400,000 kay 20% of the excess over 250,000. And we also have 400,000 to 800,000. So natay 30,000 plus 25% of the excess over 400,000. So, kuan kay tas no, ang familiar ang ato ang kuan net taxable income rate. We have already discussed this sa kuan sa first pero that is the old tax rate na atong income. So this is the new amount of net taxable income. Then we also have 800,000 to 2 million. So we have 130,000 plus 30% of the excess over 800,000 and 2 million but not over 8 million ay 490,000 plus 32% of the excess over 2 million rather. Then we have over 8 million can I 2,410,000 plus 35% sa ilahang excess over 8 million. So, panduha for purely self-employed individual and for professional na ilahang gross sales or mga receipts and other non-operating income do not exceed the VAT or the value-added tax threshold of 3 million. So, ang ilahang tax shall be at the taxpayer option. So, under this, 8% plus sa ilahang income tax on gross sales or gross receipts in excess of 250,000 in lieu of the graduated income tax rate in the percentage tax. And panduha, income tax based on the graduated income tax rates. Then pangatlo, for individual earning both sa compensation income and also sa income sa ilahang business or pag-practice sa ilahang professions like doctors, lawyers, nga na. Their income taxes shall be first for income from compensation, it will be based on the graduated income tax rate. And second, for income from business or pag-practice na silang profession, first thing that we will be considering is if ang total gross sale nila or mga receipts nila kadili mo exceed ang value-added tax na threshold of 3 million. So, the individual taxpayer may opt to avail first ang 8% na income tax on gross sale and other non-operating income in lieu of the graduated income tax rates and the percentage tax. Then, same lang sila dito as sa pandwa na purely self-employed individuals. Then for kuano, for third is for individuals earning that is nabasa na dahil ako na siya. So for the under sa for income from business and practice or profession sa letter B, if ang ilahang total gross sale no ilahang receipts kay mo exceed ang value added tax threshold of 3 million. So pang-apat, on certain passive na income of individual citizen or resident aliens. So naata diri ay mga different tax rate for different na mga passive income. So for interest from currency deposit or trust funds and deposit, 20% ang ato ang gamiton nga tax rate. So if mag-calculate mo dito sa French benefit, if it's stipulated, so sa fresh benefit kay dili man kasali ang passive income, no. So if naay problem na ginapangita ang interest from currency deposit, trust funds and deposit, so mao ni ang ato ang gamiton nga tax rate. So for example, if maghatag og sa currency deposit nga 10,000, pila man ang magiging tax rate for that passive income. So, 10,000 i-multiply lang nimo sa 20%. Then, royalties on books as well as mga literary and musical composition kay 10%. But in general, 20% ang gamiton. If wala siya gibanggit dito nga for book, for musical, for whatsoever. If general lang iya gigamit na royalties, 20%. Then, prices. Prices na 10,000 or less, gamiton na to tong graduated income tax rate, no? Diri. Then, if over 10,000 na ang prices, so 20% ang ato ang gamiton nga tax rate. Then sa winnings, except na lang kung madaog mo sa PCSO and Lotto. Kay if sa Lotto mo madaog, it will be amounting to 10,000 or less ang kuano bayro nun. If madaog mo sa laing nabutang, 20% jud ang i-minus nato sa ato ang tax rate. So from PCS on Lotto amounting to 10,000 or less, ka-exempted sila for for tax. Pero if 10,000 and up, pwede na nato gamiton ang 20%. So, panlima, interest income from a depository bank under the Expanded Foreign Currency Deposit System or the EFCDS kay 15%. Then cash, mga property dividends na received by an individual from a domestic corporation. It's either joint stock company, insurance or mutual fund companies, regional operating headquarters, or multinational companies kay ang tax rate nila is 10%. Then pangpito, the share of an individual in the distributable net income after tax of a partnership, except sa GPP's association, a joint account or a joint venture or consortium taxable as corporation of which he is a member or co-venturist siya dito 10% ang tax rate. Then capital gain from sale, mga exchange or other disposition of mga real property no located diri sa Pilipinas classified as capital asset kay 6% ang tax rate. The net capital gain from sale of shares of stock not traded in the stock exchange kay 15%. Then interest income from long-term na mga deposit or investment in the form of savings, common or individual trust funds, mga deposit substitute, mga investment na management accounts, or mga kung ano certificates in such form prescribed sa BSP kay exempted na siya. Then we also have the 4 years to less than 5 years nga kung ano diri sa deposit based on the remaining maturity sa sa pre-termination before the 5th year under diri sa mga investment evidence by certificates of the BSP, there should be imposed on the entire income from the proceeds of the long-term deposit based on the remaining na maturity. So, for the holding period, if 4 years to less than 5 years, 5%, 3 years to less than 4 years, kay 12%, and less than 3 years, kay 20%. Then for non-resident alien na dili naga-engage in trade or business, so these are the certain passive income. So here, the tax rate in general on taxable income from all sources within the Philippines, same manner as individual citizen and resident alien individuals. So parehas lang sila dito kaganiha. So for non-resident aliens that engage in the trade or business, gross amount of income derived from all sources within the Philippines kay 25%, capital gains from exchange or other disposition of real property located in the Philippines kay 6%, net capital gain from the sale of shares of stock not traded in the stock exchange not over 100,000 kay 5%, any amount in excess of 100,000 kay 10%. So class, for this part, kay provided naman diri og kung pila ang tax rate kung unsa ton under sa iyahang passive income. Please do kuan read this part and kuan familiarize the kuan kung if non-resident alien not engaged in the trade business for alien individuals employed by the regional headquarter or area headquarter or regional operating headquarter ba, multi-companies, offshore na mga banking units, petroleum services kung pila ang kuan graduate ang tax rate or naabay tax rate unsa ang mga kuan unsang gamiton for these instances. Then for general professional partnership kay 0%, then for domestic corporation kay naa siya lahing tax rate, like for interest, royalties, interest income from depository bank, so 20%, 20%, and 15%. If cash and property dividends na na-receive by a domestic corporation kay 0%, then capital gains from the sale, exchange, or other disposition of lands kay 6%. Then, net capital gain from sale of share of stock not traded in the stock exchange kay 15%. So, these are under for domestic corporation. Kaganiya, kato sa pangatlo kay for non-resident aliens na nag-engage or na not engage rather in trade or businesses. So, for capital gains nila, for disposition of real property located there is a Pilipinas 6%. Then sa net capital gains, if ever nga ang stock kay wala gi-trade sa stock exchange, if that is not over 100,000, 5% lang. If mo exceed siya 100,000, 10% ang tax rate. Then note here sa pang-unom, beginning sa fourth year, no, immediately following the year sa panglima, in which such corporation commence its business operations. So, when the minimum corporate income tax is greater siya sa tax na na-compute using the normal income tax. Then, for resident foreign corporation, so we have, in general, if in general siya, on taxable income derived from sources, so padako na ko na siya nga part. So, in general, on taxable income derived from sources within the Philippines kay 30%. Then we also have the minimum corporate income tax on gross income nga 2%, improperly accumulated earnings on improperly accumulated taxable income nga 10%. And for our last na topic, no, international carriers on gross Philippine billings kay 2.5% or 2.5%. Sa regional operating headquarters, on taxable income, 10%. Pero if regional or area headquarters of multi-companies, not taxable income exempted siya. Then we have corporation covered by special laws. Ang rate niya kay mo specify man dito kung pila ang percent na ihatag dito sa special law. Then offshore banking units or the OBU kay 10%. So in general, ang income nga ma-derive sa OBU or sa offshore banking units from foreign currency transaction with non-residents kay exempted siya. So on interest income nga derived for foreign currency loans granted to residents kay 10%. Then income derived under the expanded foreign currency deposit system. So if we say interest income derived sa depository bank under sa expanded na foreign currency deposit system, 7.5% ato ang gamiton. Then, if ang income kay gi-derive siya sa depository banker under sa expanded foreign currency deposit system, kay exempted siya as long as the transaction is with non-residents, no? So, on the income derived from foreign currency loans granted sa depository banks under sa expanded foreign currency deposit system sa mga residents, so it will be 10% ang tax rate. Then pang 8, branch profit remittances. So on total profit na applied or remarked for remittance without any deduction for the tax component thereof, except na lang those activities which are registered with the Philippine Economic Zone Authority or the PEZA is 15%. Then interest from currency deposits, trust funds, mga deposit substitutes, and similar arrangement kay 20%. Royalties derived from sources within the Philippines is 20%. So that is all our topic for today's discussion. So if you have questions, clarifications regarding with this topic that I have recorded, please do let me know as soon as possible so I can attend to your questions para ma-clarify na ko sa inyo. Ha? Thank you for listening for today's discussion. Have a nice day and God bless you everyone and God bless sa moabutay na examination nato for midterm. Thank you and God bless. Bye-bye!